This one's got a chorus which you can all join in, and it's called Sgt Wheres Mine. I'm lying in bed, I'm in room 26, thinking of things that I've done, like a drinking with squaddies and bull in my boots, counting the medals of one. But these hospital beds are all drab-looking joints, with the ceilings as much as I see. It could do with the wee touch of paper and paint, but then again, maybe that's me. This is the chorus. Hey Sergeant, is this the adventure you meant when I put my name down on the line? You talk of computers and sunshine and skis, and I'm asking you, Sergeant, where's mine? I've a brother in Partick with long curly hair. When I joined up he said I was daft. Hey, shooting they strangers just wasn't in my scene. That brother of mine is nae soft. But I can put up with most things I've done in my time, can even put up with the pain. But what do you do with a gun in your hand when you're facing 100-odd wains? Hey Sergeant, is this the adventure you meant when I put my name down on the line? You talk of computers and sunshine and skis, and I'm asking you, Sergeant, where's mine? Dee da dee dee da 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 da, dee da dee da dee da da, da dee da dee da 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 dee da da, da dee dee da dee da da. Now this bit's the chorus, and I want you all to join in. First bit goes, hey Sergeant, is this the adventure you meant when I put my name down on the line? You talk of computers and sunshine and skis, and I'm asking you, Sergeant, where's mine? Hey Sergeant, is this the adventure you meant when I put my name down on the line? You talk of computers and sunshine and skis, and I'm asking you, Sergeant, where's mine? I'm asking you, Sergeant, where's mine? This next song is one of my favourite sort of funny, very subtle songs. And it's by a singer called Jeremy Taylor, who I think has a wonderful sense of humour. And I must admit, this was the first song I ever sung at the folk club. I remember the time I was driving along on the Liverpool highway, singing this song. Oh, the day it was good as the day it was long. I was on my own. Then up ahead a black speck appeared, and as I drew near it was just what I feared, doing 25 miles an hour in top gear in the outside lane. dearie me, glory be. One of them I could see, it was a red velvet steering wheel cover driver. He and his wife, they sat side by side in their safety belts. They were safely tied as they drove together through the green countryside which they could not see. And there on the windows that hung on a string, two little things which went ring-a-ding-ding, and the nothing its head up and down in a peculiar way at me, up and down, side to side, his eyes open wide, for he's a red velvet steering wheel cover driver. Got 3 china ducks on his living room wall, and a bunch of pink plastic flowers in the all, which he pinched from a souvenir stand at Porthcawl on his holidays. When he gets home he goes straight to his chair, he turns on the telly and all night he stares at the girls and the gunfights, wishes he was there, but he's here to stay. When he regrets what he didn't see, he turns to BBC, for he's a red velvet steering wheel cover driver. Each Monday morning he takes his basket, goes downtown to the supermarket. He walks up and down and he says, what a task, it's so hard to choose. 'Cause there's apple sponge pudding all topped up with tasty freeze, ready sliced loaves, instant cake mix and frozen peas, all of those 57 varieties fresh today, hermetically sealed in their tin. Think of the prizes you'll win if you're a red velvet steering wheel cover driver. Sad verse. It's Saturday night, our night for a fling, so on with your glad rags and hey ring-a-ding. It's off to the hall for a nice game of bingo and cups of tea. Then it's straight home to bed, turn out the light, hug a hot water bottle, sweet dreams and good night. And God save us from things that go bump in the night, and especially all the dreams of the day when our own children will say, my dad's a red velvet steering wheel cover driver. Now we get to the flash part of the proceedings. This is my pièce de résistance, or as they say in English, this is supposed to be my best one. But this one I'll play for Andy Cassidy, because I haven't dedicated any to him so far, and it was really him who set me on the folk scene, man, and all them groovy terms what one is supposed to use. You see all these love songs about sort of hear all these folk songs about boy meets girl, boy falls in love with girl, boy shacks up with girl, boy gets married to girl, etc., etc. But you never hear very many songs about boy meets girl, boy falls in love with girl, boy parts from girl, and he thinks, thank God. This is one of them. See, it's got a chorus, which I've forgotten the words of at the moment, which I always do beforehand, but when I come to sing it, I usually remember them. But it's called Pamela Brown. I'm the guy who didn't marry pretty Pamela Brown, educated, well-intentioned, good girl of our town. I don't know where we'd be today if I'd have had her too. Probably be driving the kids to school. And I guess I owe it all to Pamela Brown. Educated, well-intentioned, good girl in our town. One of these days, yes, I might be in your town. I guess I owe it all to Pamela Brown. I've walked in all your cities and I've walked through all your shores, been in every side of your house and been right through your bars. The guy that she married was the best part of my luck. She dug him 'cause he drove a pickup truck. And I guess I owe it all to Pamela Brown. Educated, well-intentioned, good girl in our town. One of these days, you know, I might be in your town. And I guess I owe it all to Pamela Brown. I don't have to tell you how beautiful she was. Everything she had to make a guy like me in love. Lord, I hope she's happy, 'cause she sure deserves to be, especially after what she did for me. And I guess I owe it all to Pamela Brown. Educated, well-intentioned, good girl in our town. One of these days, sure I might be in your town. And I guess I owe it all to Pamela Brown. I guess I owe it all to Pamela Brown. Thank you.
Well, there you are, Andrew Jacobs. Our guest of the evening, one of the finest singers I've heard for a long time. We've been sort of built in your ear almost with a fantastic record called Galleries Revisited, man of the Young Tradition for the past 3 weeks. So this is one of the members of the Young Tradition who's doing fantastic things on his own. Will you welcome, please, Peter Bellamy.
Thank you. Well, it's the first time I've been here. Don't know if that means I ought to introduce myself. Well, I will anyway, because I enjoy talking about myself. Back in Young Tradition days, the Young Tradition did pretty well solidly real, honest-to-God, 5-star Cecil Sharp House recommended sort of traditional songs. Well, I still do a majority of that sort of material, but interspersed with out-and-out fake traditional songs. The majority of these I've got together with the help of a gentleman called Rudyard Kipling, who knew quite a bit about it. He spent a lot of time writing fake traditional songs. Only people didn't cotton onto this for a long time because he pretended they were poems. All I've been doing really is supplying tunes. In fact, one thing we know about the way he went about putting these together was that he always did it to specific traditional tunes in his head. The only trouble was the bugger never let on which tune he had in mind. So I've spent a lot of time trying to spot the right tune. When I haven't been able to spot one, then I've had to try and make one up that sounds about right. That applies to this first song. This is one that he wrote in 1890. He wrote a whole book of imitation army songs called the Barrack Room Ballads, based on the songs he'd heard sung by the British troops out in India in the 1880s, which meant he was drawing on folk song and music hall song and army song and dirty song and things like that. This one's called Tommy. It's a title you may have heard elsewhere, don't be confused. Rudyard Kipling said it first, all right? It's a sort of protest song on behalf of the Victorian soldier. They had a lot to protest about, as you'll see. It's one long moan, actually. It's got lots of join-inery, if you feel like it. Depends on grabbing the last line of the verse and doing what you will with it. Tommy. I went into a public house to get a pint of beer. The publican he up and says, we serve no red coats here. The girls behind the bar, they laughed and giggled fit to die. Well, I out into the streets again, and to myself says I, well, it's Tommy this and Tommy that and Tommy go away. But it's thank you, Mr. Atkins, when the band begins to play. When the band begins to play, me boys, the band begins to play. It's thank you, Mr. Atkins, when the band begins to play. Got it? So I went into a theatre as sober as could be. They give a drunk civilian room, but they hadn't none for me. They sent me to the gallery or round the music halls. But when it comes to fighting, Lord, they shove me in the stalls. 'Cause it's Tommy this and Tommy that, and Tommy wait outside. But it's special train for Atkins when the troop ship's on the tide. When the troop ship's on the tide, me boys, the troop ship's on the tide. It's special train for Atkins when the troop ship's on the tide. Yes, making mock of uniforms, what guards you while you sleep. It's cheaper than them uniforms and they're starvation cheap. And hustling drunken soldiers when they go in larger bits. Well, it's 5 times better business than parading in full kits. While it's Tommy this and Tommy that, and Tommy how's your soul? But it's a thin red line of heroes when the drums begin to roll. When the drums begin to roll, me boys, the drums begin to roll. It's a thin red line of heroes when the drums begin to roll. Well, we aren't no thin red heroes, no we aren't no blackguards too. We're just single men in barracks, most remarkable like you. And if sometimes our conduct isn't all your fancy paints, well, single men in barracks don't grow into plaster saints. While it's Tommy this and Tommy that, and Tommy fall behind. But it's please walk in front, sir, when there's trouble in the wind. When there's trouble in the wind, me boys, there's trouble in the wind. It's please to walk in front, sir, when there's trouble in the wind. Now you talk of better food for us and schools and fires and all. We'll wait for extra rations if you treat us rational. Don't mess about them cookroom slops, but prove it to our face that the widow's uniform is not the soldier man's disgrace. But it's Tommy this and Tommy that, and chuck him out the brute. But he's the hero of his country when the guns begin to shoot. Well, it's Tommy this and Tommy that, and anything you please. But Tommy ain't no bleeding fool, you bet that Tommy sees. Tommy. Thank you. It's a traditional song now. I've been digging back into my repertoire in the last 6 months or so, looking at a lot of the songs that I used to do a lot and have dropped for one reason or another. A lot of the time you learn a song, sing it for a while, and then it just gets squeezed out by more new songs as you learn them. But some we've dropped for very specific reasons. That applies to this one because this is always one of my big old favourites. Years ago, I used to put this into absolutely every show I did. Partly because it's a very good song, but mainly because I was convinced that I was the only person in the universe who knew it. And this always recommends a song to me, even if it's rotten, which this one isn't. But consequently, because of this belief, came as a terrific shock to me when it turned up on a Steel Eye Span album, as you can imagine. Shook me rigid, and I immediately drop it like a hot ferret. So, oh well, time has gone by now, and by God, it's still a good song. First collected by Cecil Sharp, I believe, down in Somerset. It's called The Saucy Sailor. Come, ye dearest, come, ye fairest, come, ye tell unto me, could you marry with the sailor boy who has just come from sea? Oh, I can't marry with no poor sailor, Now, poor sailor for me, for to cross the briny ocean is a terror to me. And you are ragged, love, and you are dirty, love, and your clothes, they smell of tar. So be gone, you saucy sailor boy, so be gone, you jack tar. Oh, I may be ragged, love, I may be dirty, and be clothes and may smell of tar, but I've got silver in my pockets and gold in great store. Now, when she heard these words come from him, down on her bended knee she fell, saying, I will marry my dear sailor boy, 'cause I loves him right well. Oh, do you think that I am a foolish love? Do you think that I am mad for to marry with some poor country gal where no fortune's to be had? For I can cross the briny ocean when the meadows they are green. Since you refused my awful love, now another gal shall have my ring. 'Cause I am young, love, and I am frolicsome. I am easy and I'm free, and I don't give a straw, love, what the world may think of me. Saucy Sailor. Excuse me, I've got a certain amount of problems here. Bloody Scotland. Happened last time I was here as well. The moment you step over the Arctic Circle, you've had it. Hiss, hiss, I heard that call. Last time I was in Scotland, anyone who heard me croaking, the nearest I came here was, I think, Edinburgh. If anyone was around at that time. Oh, dear boy. Yes, yes. Good health. It's port. Purely medicinal, I promise you. I'm not enjoying it a bit. It's port. It coats the entire inside of your throat with slime, so you're unable to do any damage, you see. What was I saying? Last time I was in Scotland, it was just under 2 years ago, so anyone who did see me then would have heard me talking at some length about a gentleman called Walter Pardon. Them as didn't, I'm going to tell you now. He's a carpenter who lives in North Norfolk. He only came to light as a singer about 2 years ago, little over. He's the sort of singer that me and other people in Norfolk thought we'd never find again. You know, the man who's learnt songs from his family and a real stylist at singing them and a huge repertoire, and that's what he's got. We've recorded 82 songs from him so far, and there's still a few tucked away, he says. Bill Lead has just issued a first album of his work, in case you're interested. It's called A Proper Sort. It's just come out. There's 12 of his songs, so there are quite a few more. We were wondering whether or not to try and publish the whole works of Walter Pardon at once, you know, like the Copper Family box set, until we realised that it would be the Walter Pardon crate. This is obviously an unworkable idea, so we're just going to do sort of one album of him at a time. In the meantime, of course, I'm ripping off all his songs for the public good. This is one of them. This is a song which I would reckon must date from at least the Napoleonic Wars, maybe earlier. It's very confusing. Just one of the many occasions on which the British were beating up the French. Always the same ratio, you know, one English ship takes on the entire French Navy and wipes them out. This is one of those songs. It's called A Ship to England Came. Actually, this ship had a bit of help from its friends, but the moral's the same. There was a ship to old England came, she's bound from the stocks unto the main. Her sides was oak and her keel was box, she's a gallant ship launched from the stocks. She's bound from the stocks unto the main, 50 big guns upon the deck lie plain, besides 500 brisk young men who were picked and chose by e'er one. And we weighed our anchor to the bow, and through the wide ocean we did plough, and as we was ploughing all on the deep, 5 Frenchmen of war we did meet. Now it being late when we did meet, we put it off for life is sweet. We put it off until the break of day, and then begun the bloody fray. Then up did speak our chief mate bold, all unto the little cabin boy. He said, go you up aloft, see what you spy, come down again immediately. Oh, I spy 3 ships a-coming from the east. They're a-bowling down and they make great haste, and these 3 ships' names to you I must let know. The first's the Oak, the second's the Slow, and the third what come was the Unity, which quickly made them French dogs flee. Now our great God, he must have had a hand in this, for our little boy all danger missed. Our little cabin boy upon the topmast high, where the powder and ball right thick did fly. Ship to England came. Okay, here's a non-traditional song now. What's more, it's one that neither I nor Rudyard Kipling had any hand in. It was written by a gentleman from Newcastle on Tyne called Alex Glasgow, whose work you probably know through the TV, if through nowhere else. He's done a lot of work for that. Indeed, that's where I learnt this song. He wrote this for a television documentary about Newcastle on Tyne. It's all right, it was on BBC Two, so it's fairly respectable, and this was put out about a year ago. The scene that this song went to illustrate was the launching of a ship from the Tyneside shipyards. And the great sort of charade that goes on every time they do this. You know, they don't just shove it into the water, they have a big party to prove that they've shoved it into the water. And apparently in Newcastle this show always stars the Lady Mayoress of Newcastle with a supporting cast of the directors of the board and a couple of duchesses, and they all stand up there and have their photographs taken and, you know, smash bottles of champagne over each other's bows and have a great time. But what they do not do is invite anybody who had any hand in building the ship. Apparently there's a lot of resentment about this, and that's what the song's about in a rather baffling sort of way. Good chorus. Especially for people who want to sing in harmony. Hint, nudge. Yes? No? Oh well. It's all right, actually, I've already sussed out that I cannot hear anything that comes back, if indeed anything comes back. In that first chorus, I really thought nobody was joining in. I opened my eyes briefly and saw some mouths going, so it could just be the acoustics here. It could be somebody out there was miming a bit for my benefit. I don't know. Anyway, the chorus goes, all in a day, Willie, all in a day. She's leaving today, Willie, she's sailing away. In harmony. All in a day, Willie, all in a day. She's leaving today, Willie, she's sailing away. Do you recall, Willie, the still wind a-cutting off the river. Do you recall, Willie, the birth plans at the water's edge? Will they ever know, Willie, the life hours we welded on the river? Is it any more, Willie, than so much wages underneath the bridge? All in a day, Willie, all in a day. She's leaving today, Willie, she's sailing away. And come tomorrow, Willie, when them peeping toms have canned their final picture. And come tomorrow, Willie, when the cocktail party faces stiffen up. Come tomorrow, Willie, the same wind will whistle off the river. And come tomorrow, Willie, I'll see you 7:30 in the yard. All in a day, Willie, all in a day. She's leaving today, Willie, she's sailing away. All in a day. Thanks a lot. I'm going to try a ballad now. Let me see. Yeah, 3 songs to end up the night, all from Walter Pardon, in fact. Quite different from one another. The first one, his version of the old Highwayman ballad, got dozens of titles. Walter's title is Rambling Green, or The Rambling Blade. No chorus. In Rambling Green, where I was born, a good broadsword I have always worn. I was born apprentice unto a trade, but was always known as the Rambling Blade. And at 17 I took a wife. I loved her as I loved my life, or for to keep her in grand array. All a rob, and I went on the King's highway. I robbed Lord Golden in Leicester Square. I robbed his wife, I do declare, and tapping their shutters I bid them good night, taking their gold for my heart's delight. And to Covent Garden straight away, my wife and I, we went to the play. Netfield and Skangford did me pursue, and betrayed I was to that gallows crew. But I never robbed no poor man yet, nor am I in no tradesman's debt. But many a fair maid shall weep for me, when my sad life end upon the gallows tree. Now let 6 bold robbers carry me, give them broadswords and sweet liberty, and 6 pretty fair maids to hold up my pole. Give them black gloves and white ribbons all. And when I am dead, please tell the truth, here lies a wild and wicked youth. and on my tombstone let it be, it was them bad gals have ruined me. Another ballad from Walter, very much more ancient. Beautiful song. I've always found this very moving for a number of reasons. It's a very moving story anyway. But especially that it is such an ancient song, because it's got to be medieval in its origins. Yet it hasn't just survived in one place, it's survived all over the English-speaking world. It's certainly survived in Scotland and all over England, and it's gone to America. And yet it's not one of these highly dramatic stories. It's not full of incest and murder and all the groovy things like on television. In fact, this is just a very simple little tableau about a medieval child marriage and the young man dying too soon. Trees they do grow high. This is a version, unusually enough, that's got a repeat chorus. So again, if you'd feel like it, please come along. Now the trees, they do grow high, love, the leaves, they do grow green. The time it is long past, my love, that you and I have seen. It's a cold winter's night when you and I must bide alone. Though my bonny boy is young, he's a growing. Though my bonny boy is young, he's a growing. Oh, Father, dear Father, you've done me great wrong. You've married me to a boy who I fear is too young. Oh, daughter, dear daughter, if you will stay at home with me, then a lady you shall be while he's growing. A lady you shall be while he's growing. We'll send your love to college for 1 year or two, and perhaps in that time to a man he will grow. I will buy you white ribbons for to bind around his bonny waist, so the ladies shall know that he's married. So the ladies shall know that he's married. As I was a-looking o'er my father's castle wall, I spied all them college boys a-playing at the ball, and my true love, he ran among them, he was a flower of all. Though my bonny boy is young, he's a growing. Oh, my bonny boy is young, he's a growing. At the age of 16 he was a married man. At the age of 17 the father of a son. But at the age of 18 love, well, his grave it was a growing green. So she saw the end of his growing. So she saw the end of his growing. I made my love a shroud of the holland oh so fine, and every stitch I put in it, my tears they come trickling down. And I will mourn his fate until the day that I do die. But I'll watch o'er his child while it's growing, growing. I'll watch o'er his child while it's growing. Now my love he is dead, and in his grave do lie the grass that is all o'er him, it groweth so high. For I once had a true love, but now I have never the one. Fare thee well, my own true love, for growing, growing. Fare thee well, my own true love, for growing. Trees that go high. Thank you very much indeed. I'm going to finish up then, as I said, one more song from Walter, but a bit different. Well, it's exactly the same, actually. I mean, it's another. Obviously, it's equally ancient and equally profound and moving and sad. The only difference is this has got a chorus which goes, are you ready? Goes, cock-a-doodle doo, cock-a-doodle doo, hickety-pickety, you know what, that's quite enough for you. Yeah? No? Well, blast you, got to get that together. That's Norfolk chorus. Goes, cock-a-doodle-doo, cock-a-doodle-doo, hickety-pickety, you know what, that's quite enough for you. This is profound stuff. This is what the folk song revival is all about. With feeling now. One night as I was walking out along a Victoria Park, along with a jolly old friend of mine, we went out for a lark. I saw a man a-selling fowls, and he had a lovely stock. So I give to him my half-a-crown, and he sold me a cock-a-doodle-doo, cock-a-doodle-doo, hickety-pickety, you know what, that's quite enough for you. I'm not very impressed. Come you on, that go cock-a-doodle-doo, cock-a-doodle-doo, hickety-pickety, you know what, that's quite enough for you. Now I took the old cock under me arm, a-walking along the street, along with a jolly old friend of mine, my Judy I did meet. She put her arm around me waist, she give me quite a shock, when she stuck a hand right up my coat, and she grabbed hold of my cock-a-doodle-doo, cock-a-doodle-doo, hickety-pickety, you know what, that's quite enough for you. So I took the old cock home with me, I put it in a cage, along with a jolly old hen of mine, and they flew in a rage. Two lady friends was passing by, they thought it quite a lark, and one of them she say to me, cool, that hen have got hold of your cock-a-doodle-doo, cock-a-doodle-doo, hickety-pickety, you know what, that's quite enough for you. Now, kind friends, all I've been telling you, that's only a bit of chaff, and the reason why I'm here tonight is just to make you laugh. But if I come this way again, I'll have a better stock. Just to please you one and all, I'll show you all my cock-a-doodle-doo, Cock-a-doodle doo, hickory-pickory, you know what, there's quite enough for you. Oh, cock-a-doodle doo, cock-a-doodle doo, hickory-pickory, you know what, there's quite enough for you. Cock-a-doodle doo. Thank you.
This round of applause. It's really tremendous to be here. I noticed that when Peter Bellamy was on, the only real chorus singing that came out was when he sang what I would call a naughty song. So I'll start off with a song which I sing fairly frequently. It's a fine old Scots song called Jock Hawk's Adventures in Glasgow, and it's got a bothy chorus, and it's definitely made for joining in. Tumahai tumadoo, tumahai tumaday, tumahai tumadoo, tumahai tumaday. And I don't know if you've ever been to Glasgow or if you're from Glasgow. I'm from Edinburgh, and there's a tremendous rivalry between Glasgow and Edinburgh, basically because Glasgow is very jealous of Edinburgh and the things that go on there. I think this song was actually written by someone from Edinburgh. It tells about a poor ploughman, or of course plewman as he's called in his song, who goes down to Glasgow and meets a woman of ill repute who takes him for everything he's got. Literally, everything he's got. Jock Hawk's Adventures in Glasgow. Doon to Glasgow toon a coming act to spend my penny fee. A bonny wee lass she gied consent to bear me company. Tumahai tumadoo, tumahai tumaday, tumahai tumadoo, tumahai tumaday. That's not difficult. Even I learned it. She kent I was a plummin' chiel, a stranger to the tune. She says that needna hinder ye to jog it up and down. Tumahai tumadoo, tumahai tumaday, tumahai tumadoo, tumahai tumaday. She took off her petticoat and I took off my sark. We sweating at the job there as I ploughed her muckle park. Tumahai tumadoo, tumahai tumaday, tumahai tumadoo, tumahai tumaday. Then we went into a public house and I called out for gin. And all the folk about the place they smiled when I come in. Tumahai tumadoo, tumahai tumaday, tumahai tumadoo, tumahai tumaday. We hadn't been in there an hour when in come half a score. Oh, sailor lads and quincy bra you never saw before. Tumahai tumadoo, tumahai tumaday, tumahai tumadoo, tumahai tumaday. They drank the malt, they drank the wine, they drank it orricht free. And every sailor drank success, the bonny wee lass and me. Tumahai tumadoo, tumahai tumaday, tumahai tumadoo, tumahai tumaday. They drank their way all through the necht till day was coming near. The sailors' gang a shouted out, all hands on deck appear. Tumahai tumadoo, tumahai tumaday, tumahai tumadoo, tumahai tumaday. And then every sailor and his lass they hammered made their way. The last one going out the door says, Jock, you've ought to pay. Tumahai tumadoo, tumahai tumaday, tumahai tumadoo, tumahai tumaday. So they took a warm a spurrin, my splucken and my knife. I wonder they didn't take a warm a wee bit spunk of life. Tumahai tumadoo, tumahai tumaday, tumahai tumadoo, tumahai tumaday. This is the moral. And for everyone who's never been to Glasgow, take heed. Oh, I come into this world a bairn, so naked and so bare. I get home the same for Glasgow town, I'll never gang there no more. Tum-a-hi, tum-a-doo, tum-a-hi, tum-a-day, tum-a-hi, tum-a-doo, tum-a-hi, tum-a-day. Okay. I'll do a short song called Rare Willie Drowned in Yarrow. The song, but the lyric is traditional, but the tune isn't. The tune is artificial. The tunes are fake, and it was put together by a fiddler called Chuck Fleming and myself, when we used to play together. Rare Willie Drowned in Yarrow. Oh, Willie's rare and Willie's fair, and Willie's wondrous bonny, and Willie said he'd marry me before he'd marry Annie. Yestreen I made my bed full broad, tonight I'll make it narrow, for all the livelong winter's night I light wind o' my marrow. Come ye by the waterside, put you the rose on the lily, or come ye by the meadows green, or saw ye my love Willie? She sought him east, she sought him west, she sought him braid and narrow, sign in the cleft and no crag. She spied him drowned in Yarrow. Oh, Willie's rare and Willie's fair. Oh, Willie's wondrous bonny, and Willie said he'd marry me before he'd marry Annie. Thank you. As you probably guessed, that song should have been sung by a girl, or at least a female. And to keep the trend going, I'll sing another Scottish song that should also be sung by a female. I'm singing this song in the hope that you'll know it, and we'll join in the chorus. The song's called Plumin Lad, and the chorus goes, sing laddie I, sing laddie O, the Plumin laddies are all the go. That means they're hip, you know, they're cool. Lay a ploughman tomorrow. And it's just about this poor girl who's absolutely infatuated by this punter, ploughman, who stays in a village just round the Ben, or whatever you want to call it. Sing laddie I, sing laddie O, the Plumin laddies are all the go. Down yonder glen there's a Plumin lad, and some summer's day he'll be all my ain. And sing laddie I, and sing laddie O, the Plumin laddies are are all the go. I loo his teeth and I loo his skin, I loo the very curty hurls in, and sing laddie I, and sing laddie o. The plume and laddies are all the go. Down yonder dell I could hae gotten a miller, but the smell o' the dust would aim on ye boke. And sing laddie I, and sing laddie o. The plume and laddies are all the go. Down yonder dell could hae gotten a merchant, but all his gear it was nae worth a groat. And sing laddie I, and sing laddie o. The plume and laddies are all the go. I see him coming for yonder tune, wi' all his ribbons hanging round and round. And sing laddie I, and sing laddie o. The plume and laddies are all the go. Now she's gotten her plume and lad, as fair a lad as ever lad the plough. And sing laddie I, and sing laddie o. The plume and laddies are all the go. Thank you.
I've been asked to sing a song which I've sung too often, and may I say that this is the last time I'm going to sing it. I'm getting rather fed up. I love this song, and I love singing it. Sing it tonight because actually somebody earlier on we were talking about old Davy Stewart, and the conversation carried on with somebody else in the club here tonight, and this is October, and it's actually 2 years. 2, Andy, isn't it? 2 years since old Davy had the heart attack and died. He had the heart attack in the St Andrews Folk Club, and one of the finest people in the folk business I've heard and that I know was old Davy Stewart. And this, for the final time, I'd like to dedicate to the memory of Davy Stewart. A merchant day in Huntly Town, 'twas there I did agree wi' Bogie, chief o' Kearney, a 6 months for the fee. For to work his 2 best horses, likewise his cart and plough, aye and day o' things about firm work I very well could do. Now Bogie had a daughter, her name was Isabel, the flow a road a nation, the primrose o' the dell. She had ruby lips and rosy cheeks, and hair a dirty hue. She was neat, complete, and handsome, recht comely for the view. Oh, Davy's come back to haunt me. Now one day she went out walking, and she chose me for a guide. Can you thank Pike Major Ross and Tom would call him later? They take a pleasant walk with her along McKinney side, and I slip at my arm around her waist, and to the grounded slide, and it's there I had my first broad neck with a bell a bogey side. Ere 20 weeks had come and gone, this lassie lost her bloom. Her rosy cheeks grew pale and wan, and she began to swoon. Ere 40 weeks had come and gone, she brought forth to me a son, and I was quickly sent for to see what could be done. When he heard the news, old Bogey cried, "By this I am undone, since ye beguiled my daughter, my sorrows he begun." "You're surely wrecked, old man," I cried, and I hung my head in shame. "I'll marry Bell the morning and gie the bairn my name." But though I'd offered to marry the lass, och no, this wouldna day. You're no a fit match for Bell, and she's no a match for ye. Then he sent me packing down the road, no a penny, home a fee. So I, lads o' Huntly Town, a fond farewell to ye. I knew she's married a tinkler lad, whose name is Suitor John, wha hawks his pots and ladles around by Foggy Lone. Aye, and maybe she's gotten a better match, old Bogey canna tell, but it's me was ta'en the maidenhead o' Bogey's bonny Bell. Bogey's bonny Bell. With pipe accompaniment. It's the first time I've done that. Terrible he's playing a different tune, you know. This is the quickie. Song I like, the song I can get, sort of let me hear down, all of it. It's a Scottish version from the Gavin Gregg manuscript of a very long English song, and being a Scotsman and being very, very tight, we've cut this many verse song down to about 3 verses, and it sounds better that way, I think. Come, all ye jovial mariners, what loves to take a dram, and I'll tell you over, how the seas has come. He's wrote a letter to the king on the 11th of July, to see if he will accept to him in his jovial company. "Oh, no, no," says the king, "such things they canna be. Well, they tell me you're a rover upon the sea." So he has built a jolly ship and set it on the sea, with 24 mariners to manage the jolly ship we. They've sailed up and they've sailed down, sae stately, blithe and free, until the king's high reindeer came sailing on the sea. "Why lie you there, you tinker, you silly curly thief? Why lie you there, you tinker, and haud our king in grief?" Well, I fought fae 1 in the morning till it was late at night, until the king's high reindeer was forced to take a flight. Gae hame, you tinker, and tell your king frae me that he may reign king upon our dry land, but I reign king upon the sea. Captain Warden of the Rainbow. Thank you. Right now, the high spot of my performance, an interval. We'll see you in about 10 minutes, okay? Brood in the sun, that parting cross made of nappy fungus mold, fermented underneath an unmade bed, drunk when it's 9 months old. Gallagher's famous homemade wine will easily get you pissed. If you wake up in the morning, then you rue the day you drank Drum Chapel Mist. Made from deadly nightshade and lacewood dross, castor oil, let it for a taste. If it trickles down your chin, it'll singe your beard. Sit down, let's get to waste. Gallagher's famous homemade wine will easily get you pissed. If you wake up in the morning, then you rue the day you drank Drum Chapel Mist. A purple flush comes over your face and it spreads down to your jaw. Your teeth be casting that's inside your mouth. Your tongue comes down your nose. Gallagher's famous homemade wine will easily get you pissed. If you wake up in the morning, then you rue the day you drank Drum Chapel Mist. Here we go. Gallagher fled when he heard the news of the damage that his wine had done. He left behind some unfermented booze, we know 'cause we had some. Gallagher's famous homemade wine will easily get you pissed. If you wake up in the morning and you're the day you drank Drum Chapel, I said the cider apple, you drank Drum Chapel Mist. Thank you.
Thank you. I would like to do an instrumental number now, featuring Arthur on the mandolin. It's called the Tempney Piece. When we started playing this first, it was a halfpenny piece, but with inflation it's gone up to the Tempney Piece.
Right, clap your hands to this one. That's if you want. you very much. How's a bit of a wee song now?
Well, we'd like to do a traditional number now, just as a change. This one's called Bonnie Glen Shee, and we'd like to do it in the traditional manner, which is unaccompanied, I believe. You all right, then? All right.
Of course. You want to see?
Oh, you see yon high hills are covered o'er wi' snow. They hae parted, mony's the true love, and they'll soon part us twa. Busk, busk, bonny lassie, and come along with me, and I'll tak ye to Glen Isla, near bonny Glen Shee. Oh, see yon shepherds as they walk along, with their platies happed about them, and their sheep they graze on. Busk, busk, bonny lassie, and come along with me, and I'll tak ye to Glen Isla, near bonny Glen Shee. Oh, see yon soldiers as they march along, with their muskets on their shoulders, and their broadswords hanging down. Busk, busk, bonny lassie, and come along with me, and I'll tak ye to Glen Isla, near bonny Glen Shee. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks very much. Right.
Well, we'd like to finish off with a wee spot here. Actually, it takes you about 3 or 4 to get warmed up, actually, but that's others' time first. So we'd like to finish off now with a wee selection of the bagpipes. You've already heard George's pipes outside, now you're going to hear them inside. I think
Officially apologise to
Andy's going
is
to try and drown him out with his singing.
Andy, can I officially apologise in front of all these people to you for drowning you out, right? There's no saying, I'm not apologise. This should be in B flat. I hope so anyway. You know? I'm going to finish up with two jigs, Scottish jigs. First one's called Walking the Floor, and the second one's called Hot Punch. What are you laughing at?
This is actually borrowed pipes George has got tonight. He's waiting on a bag for his own because he blew a hole in them.
Thought we might hit dismantle the pipes here, but it's okay.
Thank you very much.
Now, the high spot of our evening, what I've been waiting for, our guest of the evening, he's leaving, he's got his coat over his arm. You're forgiven, Peter, you can come up here. Would you like to listen, please, ladies and gentlemen? Peter Bellamy.
Oi, 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 oi. Here's another of these songs then that I used to do all the time, and eventually I pensioned it off. Now I'm very glad to put it back because it's definitely one of my out and out favourite folk songs. I'm sure you know it, if not from me, from somebody else, because it's one of the popular songs of the revival, very rightly so, from the Copper family. This is Here's a Dew Sweet Lovely Nancy. Here's a dew sweet lovely Nancy, 10,000 times a dew. I'm a-going around the ocean, love, for to seek for something new. Come change your ring with me, dear girl, come change your ring with me, that it might be a token of true love while I am on the sea. When I am far out upon the sea, then you knows not where I am. Kind letters then I will write to you from every foreign land. The secrets of your mind, dear girl, are the best of my goodwill. But let my body be where it might, my heart is with you still. There are tinkers, tailors and shoemakers lie a-snoring sound asleep, while we poor souls on the ocean wide are a-ploughing through the deep. There is nothing to defend us, love, nor to keep us from the cold. On the ocean wide where we must bide like jolly sailors bold. There is a heavy storm now rising, see how it's gathered round, while we poor sailors are out on the sea, all a-fighting for the crown. Our officers commanded us, and them we must obey, expecting every moment for to be cast away. But when the wars are all over, then there'll be peace on every shore. We will drink to our wives and our families and the girls that we adore. We will go for liquor merrily, we will spend our money free, and when our money it is all gone, we will boldly go to sea. Lovely Nancy. It's the Norfolk bagpipes, folks. Oh. Another traditional song now, also from Sussex, actually. Also about the sea. Also that you're very likely heard from people other than me, because I'm a very late comer to this song. I've only just learnt it in the last couple of weeks. It's been a favourite of mine for about 10 or 12 years since I first heard it, but I never got round to learning it till very recently, and a lot of other people beat me to it. But it's a lovely song. We all learnt it from the same source. An old gentleman called Pop Maynard came from Sussex. Again, this is very probably a Napoleonic War song, but it could be earlier. Yeah, a lot of chorus in this one. You get the verse and then you repeat half of it. I mean, you repeat half of it, right? It's called Polly on the Shore. This is Pop Maynard's tune and not the one that Fairport Convention wrote. Polly on the Shore. Come all you wild young men, and a warning take by me, never for to lead your single lives astray, all along a bad company. Chorus. Never for to lead your single lives astray, all along a bad company, as I myself have done. And it was in the merry month of May, when I was pressed by a sea captain, and all aboard a man of war I was sent. When I was pressed by a sea captain, and all aboard a man of war I was sent. Now we sailed upon the ocean so wide, and our bonny, bonny flag we let fly. Now let every man stand true to his gun, for the Lord knows who must die. Let every man stand true to his gun, for the Lord knows who must die. Now our captain, he was wounded full sore, and so was the best of his men, and our mainmast rigging it lay scattered on board, so that we was obliged to give in. Yes, our mainmast rigging it lay scattered on board, so we was obliged to give in. And the decks, they were spattered all with blood, and so loudly did the cannon roar, and it's thousands of times have I wished myself at home, safe along with me Polly on the shore. And it's thousands of times have I wished myself at home, safe along with my Polly on the shore. For she's a tall and a slender young gal, she's got a dark and a rolling eye, and now here am I a lie bleeding on the deck, and for her sweet sake I must die. And now here am I lie bleeding on the deck, and for her sweet sake I must die. So here's adieu to my family and my friends, and likewise to my sweetheart too, for I never would have crossed the salt sea so wide if I had been ruled by you. No, I never would have crossed the salt sea so wide if I had been ruled by you. Polly on the Shore. I told you earlier on about Walter Pardon and the fact that he's got a record out, and the fact that his record's called A Proper Sort. That you might find that a bit baffling. Well, the reason is that's a quote from the song I'm about to sing now. Very strange little song. I don't know what the history of a song like this would be, probably from the music halls. But Walter learnt it from his uncle, and Walter's uncle learnt it from his granddad. Goes back a bit as part of the tradition. Maybe you've been reading your folk review lately, or listening to Dick Gaughan or something, in which case you will have got to believe that all folk song is political in content. Well, I have reason to dispute this from time to time, but by God, this is a political folk song, because this is a scream, if you like, from the working class, because this is all about young bloke was in love with the daughter of the bloke what keep the shop up the village. That means she's one of the bourgeoisie. That means he's a bit shy when it comes to talking to her. That's what it's all about. His name is Mr. Brown, that's why she's called Old Brown's daughter. That's the chorus. Goes, Old Brown's daughter, she's a proper sort of gal. Yeah, maybe I'm asking a bit much. Well, never mind, listen, this is it. Old Brown's daughter, she's a proper sort of gal. Old Brown's daughter, she's as fair as any pearl. I wish I was the Lord Mayor, a Marquis or an Earl. I'd blowed if I wouldn't marry Old Brown's gal. How do you feel about that? Not very confident, I would say. Old Brown's daughter, she's a proper sort of gal. Old Brown's daughter, she's as fair as any pearl. I wish I was a Lord Mayor, a Marquis or an Earl. I'm blowed if I wouldn't marry Old Brown's gal. Very meaningful stuff, this. You watch out. There's an ancient party at the other end of town. He keep a little chandler's shop. His ancient name is Brown. He's a miserable old party, such a party I never saw. But by Jingo, I would like to be that old chap's son-in-law. 'Cause old Brown's daughter, she's a proper sort of gal. Old Brown's daughter, she's as fair as any pal. I wish I were a Lord Mayor, a Marquis or an Earl. I'm blowed if I wouldn't marry old Brown's gal. Now old Brown, he's often troubled with the gout. He grumble in his little parlour when he can't get out. Miss Brown, she mind the shop, and that's a treat to see herself. I'd like to run away with her, but I haven't got the nerve. 'Cause old Brown's daughter, she's a proper sort of gal. Old Brown's daughter, she's as fair as any pal. I wish I were a Lord Mayor, a Marquis or an Earl. I'm blowed if I wouldn't marry old Brown's gal. Now old Brown, in his shop, he sell everything you please. He sell treacle, wood, buns and soap and lollipops and cheese. And Miss Brown, she smiles so sweetly when she hands me my change. She make me feel right galvanized. I feel so very strange. 'Cause old Brown's daughter, she's a proper sort of gal. Old Brown's daughter, she's as fair as any pal. I wish I were a Lord Mayor, a Marquis or an Earl. I'm blowed if I wouldn't marry old Brown's gal. Now Miss Brown, she smiles so sweetly when I say a tender word. But old Brown, he say she'll marry a Marquis or a Lord. And I don't suppose that ever one of these swells I will be. But By jingo, next election I shall put up for MP, 'cause old Brown's daughter, she's a proper sort of gal. Old Brown's daughter, she's as fair as any pal. I wish I were a Lord Mayor, a Marquis or an Earl. I'm blowed if I wouldn't marry old Brown's girl. Old Brown's girl. Okay, I feel I've rather neglected Rudyard Kipling tonight. I'm going to slip another quick one in here. This is a poem he wrote during the First World War. Rather different from the one I did earlier on. He lost his only son in the First World War, which altered a lot of his attitudes, as you can imagine. This particular song is about fear. It's about the sort of fear a man might feel before being sent into battle for the first time. So he says, "Oh God, don't let it happen to me." And of course it does, because that's the way these things normally work out. Also, hence the title, Gethsemane, because that's what happened there as well. This is not a bundle of fun. You're not meant to smile, giggle, and have a good time during this song. It is meant to depress you and bring you down, all right? The garden called Gethsemane, in Picardy it was, and there the people came to see the English soldiers pass. We used to pass, oh, halt as it might be, and we'd ship our masks in case of gas beyond Gethsemane. Now the garden called Gethsemane, it held a pretty lass, but all the time she talked with me, I prayed my cup might pass. Our officer, he sat on his chair, and us men, we lay on the grass. But all the time we halted there, I prayed my cup might pass. But it didn't pass, and it didn't pass from me. For I drank it when we met the gas beyond Gethsemane. Well, thank you very much indeed. To close the evening, I'm going to do as many songs as I can fit in here. I should imagine about 3. From something rather different. This is a project I've been involved in for the last few months. I decided a long time ago that what the world needed most of all would be a folk opera. Years ago I decided this, and I started working on a story. It was all about a deaf, dumb and blind ploughboy who becomes the Mumbledy-Peg champion of East Anglia, and unfortunately news of this leaked out and the idea was stolen. So I had to wait for another story to come along. The right story came along in January of this year. It's much too involved to explain it all to you now, but it's about a guy called Henry Cable. It's a true story. He was condemned to death in 1783 for burglary, along with his dad and another guy called Abe Carman. And they hanged his dad and Abe Carman because they were sort of old and boring, but they said, seeing as Henry's only 19 and a groovy guy, we will let him off with only 14 years transportation. But unfortunately, we'd just lost America. To the Americans, what's more, and that really hurt. But suddenly we'd got nowhere to offload all our rubbish. They didn't know what to do with Henry and all the people like him. They put him in Norwich Castle, which was the county jail then. They left him there for 4 years. While he was there, he met a girl called Susannah Holmes, who was also condemned to death. She'd stolen some silver teaspoons to a value of £2.13 and sixpence. Well, she was really asking for trouble, right? But they said, well, you know, she's got big tits. We'll let her off with 14 years transportation as well. Put her in Norwich Castle. And while they were there, she and Henry got on rather well. In fact, they got on very well and had a baby. There's a whole lot more to it than this, but it's a very involved story. But it ends up with Henry and Susannah and the baby all being shipped off on the very first expedition to Australia. What I've done is to turn the story into a series of fake folk songs. I'm going to get it recorded later on this year, I hope, with me and a few other people like Martin Carthy and the Watersons and Cyril Tawney. All the good guys. The only really good guy that isn't in this is Dick Gocken. And I really wanted to write a song for him, but there was no way I could fit him into a traditional Norfolk story. It was ridiculous. Can you imagine it? Have ye got a light, boy? The no. Definitely not. Pardon? No way. Anyway, sing us some of these songs, or short versions of them. This is Susannah Holmes' song. It's going to be sung by Norma Waterson, called I Lived in Service. I once lived in service to a lady so fine. I served her by night and by day. Oh, I carried the dishes when my lady would dine, and after I cleared them away. Oh, dear me, how can it be the life of a servant is all slavery? For I made up her bed and I turned down her sheets, and I ironed the dresses she wore. Oh, I peeled her potatoes, I roasted her meat. 'Twas I with my broom swept her floor. Oh, dear me, how can it be the life of a servant is all misery? I scrubbed her front doorstep, I polished her plate, I put coals in the pan for her bed. Oh, I rose before sunlight to blacklead her grate, and at midnight I laid down my head. Oh, dear me, how can it be the life of a servant's all drudgery? So one night as I lay in my attic so bare, I resolved that I would run away. Oh, and all for to honour the waggoner's fare, some silver spoons took for my pay. Oh, dear me, how can it be the life of a servant has no liberty? Now I lie in prison, but I will not weep. Who knows what tomorrow may hold? Oh, there's some fine lads in here for my company to keep. There's strong arms for to keep me from cold. Oh, dear me, how can it be the life of a convict is all chivalry? Now I've known confinement the most of my years. Small freedom did I ever ken. Oh, some prisons, sure they have no cold iron bars, but some prisons, boy, they have no men. Oh, dear me, how can it be the life of a convict's a pleasure to me? Dear me, how can it be the life of a servant was never so free? Thank you. Going backwards now in the story, because I mentioned right at the beginning there's this guy called Abe Carman. He is a professional robber. He's the one who gets Henry Cable and his dad involved, and he goes to the gallows. What I needed here was a roguish ruffian of advancing years, so we've got Bert Lloyd to sing this. Typecasting all the way, folks. This is called The Robber's Song. My name it is, I'd come, and me trade it is right charming. For you know there is no harm in a little burglary. I live by taking chances like the heroes of romances, and taking what I fancies with bold audacity. For there is wealth all for the taking, and there is no mistaking that me fortune I am making with a little robbery. No man shall be my master as long as I run faster than those who would me blast for it, taking things for free. And I have robbed the great and wealthy, and man as sly and stealthy, but it's just to keep me healthy, as you can plainly see. No watch, no ring, no clock, it is not safe within your pocket, and 'twill avail you not to lock it from light-fingered gentry. And you should see how I do swagger with my cudgel, gun and dagger, and safe within my saddle bag a sum of bright money. To see me count my plunder, it would make you gape with wonder, and I think soon too you'd undertake some break and entry. While I've a mate to hold a candle, an iron to break a handle, and a boy to spy the land, then I will rob both great and small. To me luck it do forsake me on the day when they do take me, and on the gallows break me, and that'll pay for all. Well, thank you. I'm going to close the evening then with one more of these, one with a chorus this time. This is going to be sung by Martin Windsor in the role of an anonymous convict. Like I say, it's got a chorus, a heavy chorus. It goes, so early in the morning the turnkey rings his bell. So early in the morning we wish his soul to hell. So early in the morning when the night begins to pale, we wonder will we ever see the last of Norwich jail. With intense and exquisite emotion, all right? And I think this is going to be your last chance to join in anything. So make the most of it. I'll start off with the chorus so you can see how she goes. So early in the morning the turnkey rings his bell. So early in the morning we wish his soul to hell. So early in the morning when the night begins to pale, we wonder will we ever see the last of Norwich jail. Beautiful stuff, isn't it? I can see already sort of champing at the bit and ready to go here. All right, it's all yours from now on. Oh, the water here is scummy green, our beds is heaps of straw. There's water running down the walls, rats running o'er the floor. There's naught to eat but rotten meat that'd make a dog turn pale. Yes, it's dainty board and lodging when you visit Norwich jail. So early in the morning the turnkey rings his bell. So early in the morning we wish his soul to hell. So early in the morning when the night begins to pale, we wonder will we ever see the last of Norwich jail. When here we fancy bathing, we paddles in the drains, and when we want a concert, we rattles of our chains. And when we want a banquet, we drink sludge and call it ale. If you want a good time, commit a crime and come to Norwich jail. So early in the morning the turnkey rings his bell. So early in the morning we wish his soul to hell. So early in the morning when the night begins to pale, we wonder will we ever see the last of Norwich jail. Now if you fancy gaming here, the race is run by fleas. The stakes is perilously high, a crust of mouldy cheese. And the first time that I tried me luck, I nearly lost me shirt. But lucky for me, they couldn't see the bugger for the dirt. So early in the morning, the turnkey rings his bell. So early in the morning, we wish his soul to hell. So early in the morning, when the night begins to pale, then we long for the day when we'll sail away from stinking Norwich Jail. Norwich Jail. Thank you.
Well, you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Peter Bellamy. Fantastic evening. I think we've got time for one more. You want to hear one more from Peter Bellamy? Come on. Ladies and gentlemen, will you listen again, Peter Bellamy?
Sorry, you don't have to do it again. Go on. Got a lot of clapping in one go. I'm going to do one more of these then, and again one with a chorus, a bit different from the last, a bit sort of down from there. This is a song, it's going to be sung by the Watersons, representing a whole bunch of anonymous convicts waiting shipment for Australia. Something I hadn't realised till I started doing research for this was that they didn't just take the prisoners out of the prisons, put them on a ship and then ship them off to Australia. It wasn't as simple as that. What they did was they took them out of the prisons, put them on a ship, and then left them there for anything up to a year, or more than that even, while they gathered the fleet. Then they condescended to take them out there. And conditions on those ships were very much like conditions on board the slave ships. It was not a whole bundle of fun. So naturally they felt like singing in 4-part harmony, hence this song. Chorus. I'm sorry it says England. You'll have to be, yeah, oh dear, oh dear. You'll have to try and clamp down on your Scottish chauvinism for this one, all right, because the chorus goes, here's a dew to the green fields of England. We actually still have some. To the green fields of England, now we're parting from you. Definitely the last one tonight. Farewell to our lovers and our kind relations. Farewell to the homes we love well. There is never an ending to our tribulations, for they've damned us like sinners to hell. Here's adieu to the green fields of England. Now we're parting from you. The sweet fetters of love, they are wrenching asunder, as they tear us from sweethearts and wives. And on some foreign shore we are sentenced to wander in exile the rest of our lives. Here's adieu to the green fields of England. Now we're parting from you. From Devon, from Derby, from Wiltshire and Wales, from Norwich and Newark and Frome, we are herded together from verminous jails, and like vermin we're forced from our homes. Here's adieu to the green fields of England. Now we're parting from you. There's cheats and cut purses and rogues with no name, and there's swindlers and sheep stealers bold. There's poor poaching fellas took nothing but game, and there's footpads took nothing but gold. Here's adieu to the green fields of England. Now we're parting from you. And there's coiners and clippers and ladies of pleasure. There's dicers and drunkards and whores. There's butchers and bakers who dealt in short measures, and a few who have broken no laws. Here's a due to the green fields of England. Now we're parting from you. There's some of our number, there's some of our number, they are handsome and hearty, and there's others the voyage will mend, but there's never a soul of our miserable party who will live to see England again. Here's a due to the green fields of England. Now we're parting from you. So farewell to you judges so kind and forgiving. Farewell to your prisons and cells. For though we must leave all that makes life worth living, we are leaving you bastards as well. Here's a due to the green fields of England. Now we're parting from you. Green fields of England. Thank you.